Today, I would like to do a video on a guy that was one of the most notorious boxers in Fort Worth, Texas. He go by the name of the Cobra, Donald Curry. I met Donald Curry in 1991 over a friend of mine house named Jenny Wurridge. While I was over Jenny Wurridge's house, Donald Curry was over there in his Benz, and he asked Jenny who was this guy in the Range Rover. And Jenny said that my name is Ron. And I had seen Donald Curry in several fights as a youngster, but I seen that Donald Curry had a manager that can get him any fight he wanted. This is around the same time of Mike McCullen, Lights Out Tony, Second to None, Michael Nunn. And I was in Vegas, and I also noticed Donald Curry, and we was talking about the Bruce Seldon and the Ray Mercer fight, where Ray Mercer tried to throw the fight. And he wanted us to put some money together to sponsor Bruce Seldon. And one thing about Donald Curry, he's one of the top boxers out of Fort Worth, and he is called a Cobra. He had the fastest jab and punch that I ever seen, and I know that he fought a lot of fighters, and I know that Donald Curry was one of the top fighters in Fort Worth with another guy named Tony Ayala. And I wanted to bring to the front of this guy that a lot of guys don't remember him, and a lot of guys don't know that this was a champ out of Fort Worth, Texas, that was big in the box office, big in Vegas. And I ended up being a friend of his, and I came to know him as the Cobra. But to make a long story short about the Cobra is, I seen him on the car wash on Berry, and I was going down the street in my Porsche, and he said that, who was that, Ron? He said, yeah, when did Ron get that car? He said, Ron been at that Porsche. But he wanted to know, could he get into the boxing business as a manager, because Bruce Seldon got in contact with him, and Donald Curry told me that we could put some money together to promote the fight and train the fight. This is before Mayweather and Little James out of Houston got together to be able to promote fights, because he told Mayweather, he said, Mayweather, if you teach me the boxing business, I teach you the record business. That's why Mayweather have the record business, and Prince have the boxing business, and he's been successful. He got a fighter named Big Baby. But today, I just wanted to talk about a guy named Donald Curry, because I know him. I know he was a champ, and I know that his manager can get him any fights that he wanted, and he's a local guy out of Fort Worth. And I know that years later, I seen that Donald Curry was in a conspiracy charge that the United States government tried to tie him into the conspiracy, but I think that Donald Curry ended up winning the case, because Donald Curry is in the history books. He's in the almanac as a boxer, as a champ. But Donald Curry had a chance to fight Sugar Ray, Tommy Hearns, Hagler, all of the Duran. He got a chance to fight all these guys, but into his age, into his boxing ability, he fought some of the best boxers in the middleweight division, which is Lights Out Tony, Mike McCullen, and all of these guys. And I wanted to also let people know that Donald Curry was one of the greatest champs that Fort Worth have ever had. And I had met Donald Curry on Berry and over Jenny House, and I had to talk to him about some of the boxing and the way he had his stance. Donald Curry had a unique stance that a lot of people in history that box didn't understand his orthodox style. And I remember when he almost beat Michael Nunn. Michael Nunn was a champ, and he had did a bunch of boxing, and he had rose himself up to a level that he was a champ. Then I think he went up against Lights Out Tony and Terry Norris. Terry Norris ended up beating Sugar Ray Leonard, and I ended up talking to Terry Norris one day, and I said, Terry Norris, you fight like you know karate. He said, well, actually, I was a baseball player, and I didn't know I knew how to box until one day I got in a fight on the baseball field, and a lot of guys tried to jump me, and I ended up knocking 6 of the guys out, and they said that I need to be boxing, and that's how I got into boxing. And he also had a brother that boxed too, like cruiserweight, heavyweight. But I talked to Tony, this guy, for about 2-3 hours, and he was telling me that he was going to be the up-and-coming fighter. He asked me did I want to put any money together, to try to promote some boxing. But I told Donald Curry I was going to do it with him. And Donald Curry called me one night. He was really excited, and he was telling me that he wanted me to invest some money into the boxing. But I didn't have an opportunity because I was in the middle of running a jewelry store, and I missed out on the opportunity to make millions of dollars. I think I could have been into the boxing business before a lot of these guys that's actually was rappers or rap promoters or rap label owners. I could have got into that, and I always been around boxing, and I always go to the fights, and I would always see these guys in Vegas. But I didn't know that Donald Curry had a brother that used to box. I think his name was Donald, one of the brothers that used to box, and these guys was champs. And I think Donald Curry trained a lot of these young youth around here into boxing when they was juveniles, when they was young. And I just wanted to let everybody know that this guy, Donald Curry, would always be a champ in my eyes. He would always be somebody that's from Fort Worth that actually owned the title and actually fought for the title. He was the best in the United States and around the country. He fought fighters from every weight group that was in his group, and he also was a good guy into the boxing. He had one of the best promoters and trainers, which out the Crunch Gym in New York, which is I forgot his name, but he was one of the guys out of the Crunch Gym that trained Donald Curry as Donald Curry turned pro. And I think this guy, it should be in the Boxing Hall of Fame. And I know one day that he will get his just due. And right now, I haven't seen Donald since I've been out, but I do have several pictures of Donald. And I know if Donald had a son or nephews, they would be champs one day. And I just wanted to shed light on Donald Curry, the Cobra, out of Fort Worth, and his brother. I really wanted to talk about his trainers and the guy that really put Donald on the map out of the Crunch Gym. I don't know why I can't remember his name today, but I will remember, pretty soon. But today, this is one is on Donald Curry, was the champ out of Fort Worth, and I hope to see Donald Curry real soon, and I hope that we be able to start training some youth, maybe even get a gym, and maybe even train some fighters, because I think Fort Worth have a history of good fighters, and I know that one day we'll be able to train some of these youth, because I see a lot of youth that have a lot of charisma, a lot of spunk, but I see a lot of these guys want to be rappers, but they don't know that boxing is a part of the genre of rapping, because a lot of these rappers, they need to learn how to fight, and they need to learn how to be able to defend themselves in a crowd, even though they have security guards. I see the guy, Blueface, was boxing the other day. I seen him on the YouTube, but I really wanted to bring fighting back to Fort Worth, and I used to go see Tony Ayala and these guys in downtown Fort Worth when I was a younger guy coming up into Fort Worth, and I wanted to extend the invitation to all the guys that want to have sons, or even maybe daughters that want to box. This is Fort Worth, Texas, and I know Fort Worth, Texas always had champs. We always had good football players, baseball players, and we want to get into boxing again.